to GCSE Maths Help. Today we're going to be looking at factorising and using that process to solve quadratic equations and the key points you need to know for your exam. Let's get started! Following on from our basic algebra video, where we learnt to expand brackets, factorising is the reverse of this. This is when we put the equation back into bracket form. This is also the most common way for us to solve quadratic equations and find the values for x. If you need help in solving quadratic equations using the other techniques, like the formula or using graphs, please check out my other videos on those topics. So we learnt from our basic algebra video that when expanding brackets, the two parts inside the first bracket need to meet both parts inside the second bracket, meaning we end up with ties like this. That one there. So when we write it out, we always have an x squared number and then something x plus something else x and then the number at the end. So when we simplify that, we have the x squared value and the x's together and the number at the end. So if we're reversing the process of expanding the brackets, it stands to reason that this number here is going to be these two numbers added together, and this number here is going to be those two numbers times together. So if we want to factorise this equation, we're looking for two numbers that times together to make 6 and add together to make 5. So numbers that times together to make 6 are 1 and 6, but they add together to make 7. Or there's 2 and 3, which add together to make 5, which is what we need. So the first bracket will contain one of those numbers, and the second bracket will contain the other one of those numbers. So let's factorise this equation here. We've got x squared plus 4x minus 12. So we know that we're looking for two numbers that times together to make minus 12, but add together to make 4. So we've got 4 and 3, but their difference isn't 4. We've got 6 and 2. So it must be those numbers, but because we've got a minus 12, we know one of those numbers must be minus. So to make a difference of 4, it must be plus 6 and minus 2, because when we add them together they make 4. So we can factorise this equation with x plus 6 in one bracket and x minus 2 in the other bracket. To double check your answer, you can always expand out the brackets again to make sure you've got the right values. So we've got x times x is equal to x squared, x times minus 2 is minus 2x, x times 6, 6x, and 6 times minus 2, which is minus 12. So we can simplify that to x squared plus 4x minus 12, which is the equation that we started with. So we know that we've got the right numbers in the brackets here. The equations that we've been looking at so far have been quite straightforward, but what happens when there's a number in front of the x squared? This is going to complicate our factorising a little bit, because the number in front of the x squared is going to affect what happens when we times out the bracket. That's going to be involved. So here we've got 8x squared plus 2x minus 3. So instead of before that we were looking for two numbers that times together to make the minus 3 but added together to make 2, this time we're going to be looking for numbers that times together to make minus 24, because 8 times minus 3 is minus 24, and add together to make 2. So we're looking at 6 and 4 here, and because timesing them together makes minus 24, one of them must be a minus. So to make a difference of 2, it must be minus 4 and 6. So now it's going to get a little bit complicated. We're going to do something that we've not done before. We're going to split up the x value in the middle of the equation. We're going to rewrite it as 8x squared plus the 6x that we've found here minus 4x minus the 3. So now I'm going to draw brackets around these two halves here so we can see what's going on. Each bracket here has now got something that we can take out as a factor. So in 8x squared plus 6x, I can take out 2x from both of these parts. That leaves me with 4x plus 3 in the middle. Now this second bracket we can take out minus 1. That will leave me with 4x plus 3, which you will notice is the same as the first bracket. So in our two brackets to factorise our equation are going to be this bracket that we've found twice and these two extra little bits that we've taken out. 2x minus 1 is going to be our factorised equation. So let's double check that we've got that right by expanding it all out again to see if we get the same equation that we started with. So 2x times 4x is 8x squared. 2x times 3 is 6x. Minus 1 times 4x is minus 4x. Minus 1 times 3 is minus 3. Simplifies to 8x squared plus 2x minus 3, which is what we started with. So we know that we've got the right factorisation here. We've got the right values in the brackets. So now that we know how to factorise our equations, we can use this method to help us solve equations like this. X squared plus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. So to find a value for x, first we need to put this equation into brackets. So we're looking for two numbers that times together to make minus 3 and add together to make 2. So we're looking for x plus 3 and x minus 1 is equal to 0. Now from our basic math skills, we know that anything times 0 is equal to 0. So one of these brackets here must equal 0 for this equation to be true. So if this first one is 0, x must equal minus 3, because minus 3 plus 3 is 0, making this equation correct. If this one is equal to 0, then x must equal 1, for 1 minus 1 is equal to 0. So the solution to this equation is x equals minus 3 or x equals 1. Questions like these are always going to be on your maths exam, so it's really worth practicing your factorising and solving quadratic equations skills because it's going to feature in various forms throughout your exam, so keep practicing. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you'd like to have some practice at answering exam style questions on this topic, click the link in the bio below. Don't forget to subscribe to GCSE Maths Help with the subscribe button below, or you can check out my Instagram page at GCSE Maths Help for more videos and tips. Thanks for watching.